Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's Bachpan Manao Masterclass. My name is Varun, and I work with the Excel Foundation. Well, today's masterclass is a pretty special one. All-round development of the child is one of the core tenets of Bachpan Manao. And having this in mind for today's Bachpan Manao Masterclass, we bring to you Pratham's Creativity Clubs. So Pratham's Creativity Club is a tech-assisted program designed to engage children aged between 10 to 14 years and youth aged between 14 to 18 years in diverse domains such as STEM, that is science, technology, engineering, and maths, art, environment, and sports. The program fosters essential 21st century skills like problem solving, creativity, communication, and collaboration. This masterclass has been designed and will be led by 3 team members from Pratham Education Foundation: Sneha Chandran, who is the program lead for Creativity Clubs, Uma Ranade, the lead at Learning for Life, and Neha Bhatt, the senior content developer from Pratham Education Foundation. I'd like to hand it over now to Neha. Over to you.
Thank you, Varun. Thank you. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Thanks. I'm really excited to be here, and thank you everyone for joining us today. And yes, just allow me to share my screen and get started. Yes. Is it visible? Just give me a show of thumb. Yeah, thank you. So welcome everybody to the masterclass. As Varun mentioned, we are here to talk about the Creativity Club program that we run. And just to begin with, we would like to ask you a question. When you hear the question, like term Creativity Club, what comes to your mind? Like, what do you imagine happens there? What do you imagine the experience would be like in a creativity club? So anything, like, anything that comes to your mind, what a creativity club would look like or would feel like. So my colleague Uma would be sharing a link in the chat box. Please feel free to use the word cloud thing to give your responses, and I'll share your responses as you type in. Yeah. Is my screen visible?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'm seeing, I think we have a lot of responses. It's exploration, thinking beyond the box, freedom, lots of fun, go crazy. Yes, of course. Explore, lots of fun, create perspectives, interesting and informative. Great. Just waiting for a few more responses. I'm loving the variety of responses that we are getting here. Collaborate, yes, very important.
Neha, do you want to refresh your screen? We can still see only 4 responses.
Oh, okay. Just give me a second. For some reason, my screen shares like it's showing a stop share, like it's paused. Just give me a second to figure it out.
You can read it out meanwhile.
Yeah. Okay, I'll just keep it when I'm presenting. It's, I think, pausing, but yeah. Thank you. Learning by doing, yes. Solve problems, freedom, do, yes. A lot of doing and hands-on things. Happy faces, exactly. Thank you. I'm just loving the responses. It's like it's kind of summing up what a creativity club can look like. Then we also have exploration, of course. Make connections, definitely. It's a club like where you come together and like do something together, make friends and like, explore things together. So thank you everyone for the responses. This was really lovely to hear from you all. Ideas made real, illustrative learning, teamwork, and networking, of course. Thank you everyone for engaging in this very fun exercise. And I would like to hand it over to Smia, who will now take you to like what creativity club looks like, what the children experience in a creativity club, and what we are trying to do, with all this. Yeah. Okay. Hand it over to you, Smia.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Neha. Hi, everyone. It's great to have so many participants in. So just carrying on from Neha, we just wanted you to start imagining or getting into the space of creative learning and having a creativity club around you. To give a brief, Pratham's Creativity Club program primarily aims to do two things. One is how can, let's say, every village in the country has a creativity club. That's, I think, one of our dream project to say with. And the second is access should not be a problem for creativity clubs. So how do you build a model that is that can be taken to the most resource limited communities as well? So as we all, I think everyone who is gathered here might agree to the fact that children are innately very curious, innately very creative, and creativity is not about access. It's about identifying talent, giving a little push to children who can explore, create, and express themselves. And creativity club is in a way trying to do exactly these things. Yeah. Now, just going a little bit deeper into what exactly this Pratham Creativity Club is about, we have three major factors or three major pillars that come together for us while we say or talk about Creativity Club. One is social structure, which is primarily if we have the vision of having a creativity club across the country or every village having a creativity club, we need to have a very strong social structure. And for us, social structure means having a youth volunteer in the community who is acting as a change maker. And the second point for us when we talk about social structure is how can communities themselves set learning goals for their children and for their youth in the community. So that's one thing. The second pillar that we bring together for any creativity club is the digital infrastructure. We are in an age where we know that India has a very strong digital access in terms of smartphone availability. So, how do you use the existing smartphone access in all of these communities and create something that can leverage technology that is already available in the communities? And third pillar for us is content. How can we have very exciting content in regional languages and these diverse languages that India has. And a lot of our masterclass today is going to focus on this third pillar of content. So I'll not dive a lot deeper into it right away. So for us, Creativity Club is bringing together all of these three pillars together. Yeah, Neha, next. Before moving into content, I'll just give a quick overview of what these creativity clubs looks like. So you just have to imagine a village, and we go into a village, we identify a volunteer, or a volunteer comes to us and says that I am ready to establish a creativity club in my community. We call that volunteer as a champion because we know that if we have to do creativity clubs, we need to have someone championing it at all of these levels. So that's the starting point for us of any creativity club. The second thing that we ask these volunteers or request these volunteers to do is that let's identify a space in your community where children can come together and gather and have all of those things that you mentioned: fun, learning, happy phases, and so on. Now these spaces need not be, for us these spaces are not already set up spaces. These could be any spaces that the volunteer feels like. So in here you can see an image which is primarily an abandoned Anganwadi. which children and volunteers in the community thought, hey, this place is not being used right now. Why not convert this into our creativity club? So they took permissions from their sarpanch. They went into the community. They identified this place. They cleaned it up, and you can see the small club setting it up. They have decorated it with things that they themselves have created. There are some books hanging around. So that's what our social structure looks like. Um, just moving to the next pillar, which is the digital infrastructure. So we have these many volunteers, we have these many clubs. Now, what is the existing digital structure that these volunteers are already acquainted with? WhatsApp. I think all of you would agree to that. So we are connected to all of these volunteers through WhatsApp networks. So it's not a major in-person interaction that we have. All of these volunteers are connected through WhatsApp network, and that is the network we use to share our resources, which is the next part of our discussion. To share resources, to get their feedback, to give them feedback, and everything happens in WhatsApp on WhatsApp. The second bit is we also have platforms created, which is not very internet heavy to say, for membership and submissions. So let's say a volunteer has started a creativity club. How do they let us know? Is through a small membership that they have to take for the creativity club. And the third major element of digital structure for us is digital content. We know that to reach or to take Creativity Club at scale, we need to have resources that can be easily shared across all of these networks. So, digital content acts as a major chunk of our digital infrastructure. Next, so, without a lot of ado, we will dive into our main element of today's structure of how these creativity clubs get engaged with the content. Because once you have the setup, once you have the champion, once you have the children gathering around, a lot of these depend on the kind of activities that you are sending into these clubs. And to just go deeper into it, I will request Neha to continue. Yeah.
Thank you, Smia. Yes. So when we talk about learning content, a creativity club is established. We have the children, we have the volunteers. We send out activities and prompts that the children can engage in. So yes. So the major domains or themes that we have so far explored in Creativity Club. The domains are arts, in which visual and performing arts is something we explore. Then there's environment. Then there's STEM, and then there's sports. So in arts, like these are some of the themes that we have so far explored. We have visual arts, architecture, folk art, and photography in visual arts. And in performing arts, we have recently explored theater as one of the theme, and children have like really enjoyed that theme. And then comes environment, where we send out some activities where there's like a combination of art and environment, where children make nature diaries and like go out in the environment and like sketch and everything. And then there's a whole program on plastic literacy, where children are made aware about like the plastic problem, and they are called to action, and like the children have done some amazing work under this theme, raising awareness and like doing some really amazing project work. So and then comes STEM. Under STEM, we have activities that promotes like that encourages computational thinking. Children have built machines, a video of which we will show later. And there was also a theme coding, which was very popular among children. And we also have sports. Under sports, we had a major program, football related, and there's also fitness programs that run under Creativity Club. So these are all the like basic like just a picture of what all happens in a Creativity Club, what all we try to touch upon, what we try to explore with kids. And definitely this list will keep growing. So yeah, just giving you a picture about that. Moving on. Now let's look at what these clubs create. What do children come like do after they come together in a Yuva Bhavan or like a space? So I'll just show you a video.
मेरा नाम आयुष है और मैंने ये पजल बनाया है, भूल भुलैया पजल। इसमें मैंने कार्डबोर्ड का यूज़ किया है, जो हमारे घर में वेस्ट पड़ा हुआ था, उसमें कुछ सामान आया था। यहाँ पे एंड पॉइंट है एंड यहाँ पे स्टार्ट पॉइंट है, और जो ये स्क्वायर्स बनाए हैं ये मैंने रुकावटों का काम करती हैं। सो गाइज, ये स्टैंड पकड़ने के काम आती।
हा संकेत ही त्याची शाळा आहे, हॉस्पिटल आहे आणि संकेताच्या घरी चाललाय।
Yes, so this was two of the activities under our theme, STEM theme, and we got some really amazing submissions, and this is what two of the submissions that we wanted to show. Now I'll show you another theme, which is visual arts, artwork done by a kid.
Ready. Fight.
Okay, great. So I'll just pause here and would like to hear from you. So these are this is like, first of all, like, what do you think this activity is like? What are children doing here? Would like to hear it in the chat box. If anyone can just let us know, what do you think this activity was like? What it's called?
So primarily, we wanted to hear from you that what do you think the prompt that was given to children would have been for which they created these submissions or these projects? If any guesses you could give us.
Yes. So Uma has shared. I think we can actually do the chat box only because we've received some answers. Rock, paper, scissors, stop motion videos. Okay. Exploring the power of the brains puzzle. Also, now we would like to hear from you what the prompt would have been like, how we would have, like, what would we have sent or like asked them to do, if anyone can get your world on the screen. Okay. Creativity through digital knowledge. Make inanimate objects move. Okay. Map their neighborhood. Yes. Okay, great. I think I'm hearing a lot of like a variety of ideas, like, on what we would have asked the children to do, what we would have invited them to do. So, so the activity was on stop motion animation. Would like to again share my screen. So, what do you think was the prompt given? You have shared some responses with us. We'll like to now show you a video.
Do you like watching cartoons or animation? So in just 3 easy steps, create a fun animation. Record, pause, move, record, pause, move. Record, pause, move. Repeat these steps again and again. And finally stop the video recording. That's it, your animation is ready. This is known as stop motion animation, and the interesting thing is that cartoons are also made using this technique. You can tell stories, make objects vanish, and bring inanimate objects to life with stop motion animation. Just 3 rules: pressing the record and pause buttons repeatedly, moving things forward a little bit and not moving the camera. You can use a photo to make an animation if your phone does not have a pause feature for video. Move the object, take a photo, move it again, take a photo again, and finally arrange all these photos in sequence in any editing app. Isn't it fun? This is your challenge. Use any object, even your favorite toy, to create a 10-second animation. Share your video with us on the Pratham Creativity Club submission portal. You might not get the animation right the first time, but keep trying. All the best.
Okay, would like to hand it over to Uma now. Yes, over to you, Uma.
Hello everyone. Lovely to meet all of you, and thank you for such nice comments and sharing your thoughts on the chat box. So when Neha asked what do you think the prompt would be, for us, prompts are these kind of videos or any kind of message that we send out in the community. And by looking at that message, children are supposed to do these activities. One of you asked what the age group of these children is. It's generally 10 to 14-year-old children coming together. But the way the creativity clubs are formed is that within one creativity club, you could have children of different age groups. So it's not only the 10-year-olds coming together or only the 14-year-olds coming together. And the interesting part is even a younger child or an older child in that group gets the same kind of challenge or gets the same kind of prompt from us. So although when we design our activity or when we select our activity, we definitely look for contextualized activities that are familiar to them, that use materials which are easily available to them, activities which are definitely age appropriate but not age restrictive. In the sense, even a 10-year-old child could have made a stop motion animation being in that group, learning things on their own, testing things on their own, or learning in a group, taking help and taking advantage of the youth volunteer who's there to facilitate. So how do we select these activities, or how have we selected these activities so far? And I must say as a disclaimer that some of the activities have also bombed. So that is a very interesting and important learning experience. But while selecting activities for Creativity Club, I think one of the principles that we follow is that it has to be learning by doing. A lot of hands-on activities, instead of discussion or let's say, more than discussion, hands-on activities and learning by doing is what we focus on. Because when you are making a model, when you're trying something out, the test and learn that you end up doing is very, very crucial. Like I said, contextualized, age-appropriate content, age-appropriate activity. You build on the familiarity of children, but maintain a balance with novelty and familiarity. And the stop motion animation video that we saw, the prompt and the submissions that we saw, is a very good example. Because of digital penetration, even rural children are well versed and familiar with, let's say, photography. They keep clicking pictures or take selfies. How we built upon that is the first challenge we gave them was called forced perspective. Now, instead of using the terminology forced perspective, we called it Jadui photography. Basically, this is one of the oldest techniques of photography, especially used in the early years of filmmaking. If you watch some of the Charlie Chaplin films or even Hitchcock films, to make one item or to make one character appear bigger than the other, this kind of technique is used. So we built upon the familiarity with digital technology, familiarity with photography as a technique, but introduced a novelty. Same was the case with stop motion animation. So this balance of familiarity and novelty is something that is very crucial when it comes to selecting activities. Low resources, very, very important. Know your audience, know your target age, know your target demographics. What are the things that they are easily available to them, are very low cost and can be easily used. To give you an example of a bombed activity, we had a couple of years ago, I think during COVID, we had given an activity around newspapers, thinking from a very urban perspective that newspaper to har ek ke ghar pe aate honge. But in the rural areas, not every household had a newspaper. So basic things like that are something that you keep learning as you go along. And to incorporate these learnings in your activity selection, in running the creativity clubs is very, very important. Experiential in nature, again, very important. Does your activity encourage children to explore their surroundings, to explore themselves as well? What is it that I like or I dislike? What are my comfort zones? What are my skills, for example? And do I get to explore my surroundings, things which are very familiar to me? And to give you another example, coins is something that you and I use every day. Chillar, जैसे मुंबई के भाषा में कहते हैं. We did an activity, or one of the themes under visual art was numismatics. And we explored India's history, we explored India's cultural diversity, geographical diversity through one simple activity where children were asked to design their own coins, to come up with their own currency, and then decide the price and value of things around them. So, experiential in nature. Some of the activities can also be demand based, of course, depending on what the children want to do. For example, music, dance, theater have been some activities which are always and constantly in demand. So, the challenge for us is what new prompt, what new competition or new element can be introduced, keeping the themes the same. Activities have to be challenging, but not so challenging that they become discouraging. Again, something that we all will learn as we go along. Familiarity, novelty, challenging, but not discouraging. I think these are some of the things that we keep in mind as a team whenever we decide themes, whenever we decide activities and create prompts. So going to the next slide, Neha. You saw one of the prompt videos, which was hardly 1.5 to 2 minute long, which was created by Pratham. And this is usually the kind of prompt or the kind of learning material that we send out to our various creativity clubs across India, majorly in rural areas, but also in urban areas. And this is something that we have learned over the years. Visual cues are better than verbal instructions, and that are better than written instructions. What I mean by this is that today's children, as young as 10-year-olds, as young as 7-year-olds, are watching reels, are watching YouTube shorts, whether we like it or not. And a lot of these DIY videos don't even have vocal instructions, right? They are simply showing us how to do something. And children are picking up those cues and they are able to replicate what is being shown. Now, here is what we need to decide as, let's say, content creators or as people running creativity clubs. Do we want children to simply imitate what is shown, or do we want them to learn from it and then interpret it in their own ways? Giving as many visual cues, showing as many varieties as possible through that video is quite important, more important or more useful, more impactful than verbally explaining the instructions. And written instructions we also gave in the form of posters or WhatsApp messages, but we have seen that children prefer learning or watching the videos and immediately trying their hands at these activities. Now, whenever we think about video creation, of course, it can be an expensive affair. It is a high cost production in a sense. So high quality studio videos are great, but what you saw as the stop motion animation prompt, and I'm continuously referring to that one example because we have used it in the presentation, is a low cost home production. So if the video is made well, even a low cost home production will work. You can also try your hand at AI technology, whether it is creating the video, whether it is recording voiceovers or using certain already available visuals. One thing that we at Pratham do for sure and follow for sure is that whenever a video is made, we directly address the target audience or the person for whom the video was made. In this case, it is the children. So directly address the children. They are clever. They understand what you talk. Instead of making videos which are something like a teaching aid, which require a facilitator or a teacher or an educator to be present there. In a lot of cases, the presence of a teacher or an educator is quite a luxury. So if our videos are directly talking to the audience, directly talking to the children, they tend to work. Size matters. Because of reels, because of constant consumption of different kinds of digital content, our attention span, or let's say our ability to pick up information has really increased and attention span has sort of decreased. So we used to make videos which were 3 minutes, 5 minutes, sometimes even 7 minutes long. But maybe they worked 5 years ago, not anymore. So shorter the video, the crisper the video, more is the consumption. And once the video has reached children or their parents or the youth volunteers in the community, they can keep repeating it, keep watching it again and again. Guiding the children is important, but also leaving room for interpretation and innovation, right? And make use of existing technology and their tech familiarity, whether it is using WhatsApp, whether it is using any other medium that your audience is familiar with. Those are some of our learnings. Next. So just to give you an idea of the scale at which Pratham Creativity Clubs run, this year we have sent over 18 activity prompts to different clubs, more than nearly 13,000 clubs across India, and we have received around 85,000 project submissions so far. And these submissions are in the form of videos or photos. Although the activity or the model may be hands-on, but what they have to submit is a video or a photo. So just an experience that creativity clubs can run at scale, and we have been trying them at scale. Next. Okay, so in the introduction, Varun has already spoken about what Pratham Creativity Club stands for, what are the domains that we have explored so far, and we are saying so far because this is a learning journey for us as well, and we will keep increasing our domains. We will try different themes, different challenges under them, but so far STEM, art, environment, and sports is what we have dealt with under Creativity Club, and the objective is to ensure or give more exposure to children that impacts their aspirations in the long run. So we follow something called as the X framework. The first X stands for expose, second is explore, third is experiment, and fourth is exchange. So the way the club is designed, the way activities are designed, the way interactions are designed are keeping in mind this X framework: expose, explore, experiment, and exchange. And irrespective of the theme, irrespective of the challenges, I think at the core of it, the principles are to foster 21st century skills: creativity, communication, collaboration, problem solving. So in the Creativity Club, the actual club in villages, children come together, usually 10, 15 children would come together. They would be headed by a youth volunteer. Now, activities can be done individually or they can be done in a group. Even when you're doing it individually, just the atmosphere of sitting in a group, asking for help, sharing resources with one another, showing your artwork to somebody, getting a feedback from them, all of these things help us foster the 21st century skills. So project-based activities, again, something that we focus on. Next. Just to quickly take you through the structure of the Creativity Club, imagine it as a pyramid of all, some, and few. Now, at the all level, we have these creativity clubs in schools and communities, which are led by volunteers or which are led by teachers in the case of school. Now, on a very large scale, periodically, and that period can differ, but periodically, we send out challenges and activities for the all level. Now, an important part of our Creativity Club is that every time prompts go out or challenges go out, children have choice. So it's never just one prompt going out or never just one challenge that we roll out, but let's say a bouquet or a menu of challenges from which children can choose to do one, choose to do all, or choose to reject all. So that choice is with children, and I think that is very, very important. At the sum and few level, the interaction with the subject gets deeper, the exposure to the theme gets deeper, and we tend to connect children with experts from that field through workshops, through camps, through experiential learning, through site visits or heritage walks, by taking children to IIT Bombay or to taking them to meet scientists. There are a variety of ways in which this exposure gets deeper. They they are connected with experts, and they directly learn from the best. So that is the idea. That is the all some few pyramid approach to Creativity Club. This year we were able to get more than some 40 or 50 collaborators and partners to run these clubs.
Yeah. If we can just show that video we have, I know we have been sharing, but I think a video says a lot. It is easy to grasp. So we have a quick video about Creativity Club, and post that we have like a small question for you. Like then we will keep the rest of the time for discussions and understanding what you think about a Creativity Club and so on. So let me just try and share my screen. Yeah.
It's audible.
Okay. Sorry, it was audible, right? Yeah.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Twenty-first century skills are essential for children to thrive in a rapidly evolving world. These skills go beyond traditional academic knowledge and prepare children to adapt, innovate, and succeed. India's national education policy encourages experiential learning, which includes project-based, art-integrated, and sports-integrated activities to enhance creativity. Imagine a thriving learning environment in which every child can dream, create, and innovate. Welcome to Pratham's Creativity Club. Creativity clubs aim to foster creativity, communication, collaboration, and problem-solving skills in children in the 10 to 14 age group through thematic challenges in domains such as the visual arts, performing arts, STEM, environment, and sports. The goal is to spark curiosity and learning through fun, interactive activities preparing children for school, work, and life. The Pratham Shah Prodigy Innovation Center has structured the program around the X framework. First, children are exposed to different topics through a variety of content. Next, children explore their interests through creative workshops. Children then work in groups to share ideas and experiences and experiment with experiential learning. Children are encouraged to exchange and share their work through peer learning. The program combines hands-on projects with physical materials and interactive digital content. These clubs are community-led, where youth volunteers facilitate the running of the clubs while pursuing their own learning goals through remote mentorship, digital learning courses, and workshops.
WhatsApp ग्रुप में 3 थीम्स आती है, उसमें से हम बच्चों को दिखाते हैं तीनों थीम्स के बारे में,
एंड जो बच्चों को पसंद आता है वो चूज करते हैं
और फिर उनके बच्चों को एक्सप्लेन करते हैं, फिर जो करना उन्हें पसंद होता है उसकी वीडियो दिखाते हैं उन्हें।
बच्चे एक्टिविटी करते हैं, एक्टिविटी करने के बाद फिर हम लोग प्रथम पोर्टल पर जाके उस पिक्चर्स मॉडल को सबमिशन करते हैं।
Using an all-some-few approach, children progress from community projects to advanced workshops and expert interactions supported by collaborations.
बच्चे जो है रचनात्मक नए-नए आयाम सीख रहे हैं।
ये जो गतिविधि है इस स्वास्थ्य पद के लिए, मानसिक रूप से विकास के लिए भी बच्चों के लिए बहुत ही बेहतरीन है।
The program operates across these 13 states. Since 2022, over 13,000 communities and 2,000 schools have registered for creativity clubs. More than 1.25 lakh children have benefited from the program. More than 20,000 youth volunteers and 2,000 teachers have enrolled themselves as creativity champions. When children learn today, they lead tomorrow. Together, we create a better future.
Yeah, I think that brings us to the last question to all of you. Neha, if you can just share it across. Now, just after all of this, if you guys have any questions, happy to take them. But we also wanted to leave you with a question to just hear from you that, let's say, if you had to start a creativity club in your community, how would you like to do it after just going through all of the things that we shared? Yeah. Yeah. Also open to any questions, any comments, any feedback. We are also going through the chat, but in general, if someone wants to unmute and also talk, that's also fine. Yeah.
Hi, this is Fariba here. Great work, amazing this is. I had just two questions. One, I heard the learnings, like some of the activities didn't work. But other than this, what were the different challenges you faced if there were while doing this in a community? And secondly, I saw there's very less usage of mobile, but still, did you face the challenge of any parents coming and talking to you about screen time?
Yeah, no, I think thanks for the question. It has definitely been a very roller coaster thing. One is definitely in terms of content, we have had a lot of learning of what works. For example, we thought some activity might be very easy, it would have a lot of uptake, but then we realized that, and that activity involved them having to find a glass bottle in their village. And when we started getting submissions, we understood that it's very difficult to find a glass bottle in a village. So some kind of those like material related problem, even if we thought that it's something to be created out of waste, probably it's not that easier in the communities that we work in. That's one thing. Secondly, volunteers, because this is a highly volunteer led program. And by volunteer, exactly all of the youth who are connected with us, they're just in a slightly elder age group than the children. So they are anywhere between 16 to 22. We have majority of our volunteers lined up. And we know that these volunteers will not be with us for a long duration. So most of the time we see that there is attrition rate of volunteers. Most of them are with us for a period of 3 to 4 months, or let's say 6 months or so. So currently what we are working on is, can we try and have a cycle where volunteers are then identifying another volunteer or another champion in the community to take over from them. So that's something which we have been working on, and but we also need to have a long way to go there. But what we are observing is that when these children, they come out of the club, let's say 10 to 14 age group, once they're in the 15, 16, they then end up becoming champions. So I think that cycle would take a little bit time, but that's where we are keeping our hopes up to. But that's like another challenge that we are facing. About access, we rarely have any parent coming up to us and saying about screen time, mostly because all of these things happen after school, and they can see that children are creating something. So it's not it's more than screen time. So they're creating something. When they see the projects, that really makes a difference. And Uma explained the few level or the workshops and camps that we try and connect children with. I think that acts as a lot of motivator. For example, once in a community, if a child gets a chance to go to, let's say, a science center or a art museum, it reflects back to the community, and there is a lot of participation happening. And parents are also very hopeful on what, this is something of uh, like something good would come out of it. I also wanted to highlight that the volunteers are the ones who have smartphones in these cases. The children don't have access. So when we talk about the Indian landscape, we know that the smartphone penetration is high, but that doesn't mean that individually all of the children might have. So they have access to a smartphone, and that's where the volunteer sharing the content on their screen happens. So when they gather on, the volunteer is the one who is just showing them. The children then see the video, have to pick up which topic they want to participate and submit. So there is not a lot of screen time again involved, but we never had that question come up. I hope I answered your.
Yeah, I want to add a good problem or a good challenge to have. I think children's appetite is so much that it becomes challenging for us to keep thinking about newer activities and to produce content in 15 different languages and to share it with children. But that's a good problem to have.
Thank you. That's interesting.
I think there's one more question. How do we be part of these creativity clubs if we want our slum areas children to participate in these activities? Thank you for that question, and we would love to take this to more and more places. After this workshop, like towards the end, we will be dropping a PDF document which has so far all of the content that we have created. We are also trying on getting a portal in place where anyone can come and register, freely access the content that we have, and use it in any which way that they would like. So we will be sending this group with your consent a handbook after this meeting, for which you can take it, use it. But all of our content that Pratham makes, all of the digital content, is also available on a platform called as Pratham Open School. Again, you will find that in the handbook that we will share after the meeting. So it's totally possible. Yeah. At the same time, you can reach out to us if there is you're willing to have like a more structured discussion. Happy to do that as well.
Just to add, I think the question was also one. I can see a few questions here on how to start their own creativity club and can they join Pratham Creativity Club. So, Smiya, you might want to just add to that.
Yeah. So one thing that Pratham in general has been very clear about is all of the resources that we make is freely available. So even if your creativity club does not have the structure in which Pratham's creativity club is functioning, we are okay with that. I think our intention is more and more activities reach children. Children have fun, get that space to try, create, imagine. So I think that's not a barrier at all. The only thing getting into, like, let's say staying connected might lead to is there are these camps and workshops that we try to organize throughout the year, and that we do with a lot of collaborations. Pratham does not host that directly. We try and get regional collaborators, we try and get state level collaborators. So that connection having would would help us inform you that this is something happening, and if you have to send your kids there and so on. So that's all. But the content you can use in any which way that you feel best. Our aim is that something of like a space need not be a space also, but children get to do creative things, and if that can be possible in any way, we are happy to support. We are happy to be in touch either way. Yeah.
Smiya, one question from my side. Sorry, my baby is also in the background. I wanted to know from you two things. If you can, you have such a vast experience with setting this up at scale. If you were to break it down for an individual interested in setting up a creativity club, what do you think are the, one or two, three key things to keep in mind as to make a creativity club successful? I think it's fantastic that all these incredible resources are available freely. But if there are any insights that you have at a very local level, what would make for a successful creativity club?
Yeah. If I would like to bucket it, Uma and Neha, please do pitch in. But I feel one is children meeting regularly. I think what we encourage in our clubs is at least once a week, can children come together, work in group, and do something which is beyond their school curriculum or their regular work that they're engaged in. So that's one key factor. So can we have a system where a group of children can come together on a regular basis and work on something? The second is feeding them with these content. We have seen over and over again that when you don't have a lot of input that we could give children, the activities remain in a very lower, I would say, lower skill level, or if it's not challenging enough for them to meet, it eventually fades away. So giving them content, giving them good content that they can look up to, that they find it challenging and do something. So one is having a group of children meet regularly. Second is giving them content, and the third, I feel, somewhere feedback is something that, again, something that we are also trying to integrate at scale. But providing that facilitator, providing feedback to children at the club level or at the very beginning level is also an important factor. So I think these are the only three requirements that we have in terms of having a creativity club started. And I think all of the other, the workshop and camps act as incentives to continue that engagement. But to begin with, a group, then there is content, and then there is feedback for children that we begin with. I think that is something I would say. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I think in terms of just the barrier to entry to kind of set something like this up, from the way you kind of distilled it, actually it's not very much, right? To get it going.
Yeah.
So thanks for sharing that.
Can I add to this?
Sure.
First, I mean, when you think about a creativity club, or let's say in urban context, it is the hobby classes and things like that, we think the first thing comes to mind is, where do we host it? The physical space. What we have learned is physical spaces, yes, it is important for children to come to have a space where they can come together, but it need not be a permanent space where they can come together. And in villages, like Smiya mentioned in the PPT, an abandoned classroom, or community level mandir, maybe just the angan of somebody's house. There have been various, under a nice tree that gives shadow. So there are various places where children themselves have identified that we can sit here for a few hours and do the activities. So let's know, I mean, when you're thinking about starting a creativity club, it could literally start in your living room, or it could start on, if you are in an urban area, it could start on your terrace. It could start anywhere, I think.
Yeah. Sorry, just one more thing if I would add to Uma. I also feel this element of it's not compulsory to have a trained facilitator. I think our model is very much centric towards that. So you can see all of our content and the fewer steps of what it means to start a creativity club is because of that. Because we know that if we need to take something at scale, anyone should be able to do it. And that's where a lot of our content efforts and a lot of the ideas that we think in goes in that way. We know that there's a lot of content available, but we try to curate and we try to create something which anyone can facilitate. I think that is also something which we also feel very proud about ourselves, that anyone can just deliver it. I think that like one thing added to it. Yeah.
Hello, Smiya. This is Sonam from Ghaziabad. I want to inquire that can I start this kind of club with my society kids? Because any sort of background students are living these days, they are so much into mobile and gadgets that creativity is just out of their minds, you know. So can I start this with the society kids, like in short batches of 5 to 10 kids participating? And how can I proceed with that? I just want some little bit of guidance from you.
Yeah. No, I think, Sonam, thanks for raising it up. I think it's an amazing idea to start from where we are living. And for us also, when we talk about a village, it's primarily a community. It's just that the settlements is spread out. When we talk about cities, it's a building and coming together. I think happy to, again, share all of the resources that we have. And again, what we also have realized is having a WhatsApp network where children keep sharing their projects. Like we mentioned, we currently focus on using the existing platforms. So we don't want we have realized, and I think it's also true for the edtech space, that if we add a layer of new application coming up, again there is not a lot of effort that goes into. But Sonam, if you can start like a WhatsApp group where you start sending these images, if one person starts sending a project, then we are positive that the others would also start doing it. That can be like a community building you start off, and once a month children can come together, meet, and just share what they have made. Something of that sort can easily be done, is what I feel. But I think it's a great way of
and then we also connect them to, as you have said, that the camps and the workshops you guys are organizing for them. So we can also connect our children from our creativity club to those camps and workshops, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've dropped my email in that. if once you have like a broader plan to start off with, happy to get on a call and just see on how we can do it, how we can plan something out.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I can see your question related to summer holidays. I think summers are the best time to start engaging kids with these activities. I really, I mean, we are also hoping to have a huge summer intervention in our clubs. And we would also, I've shared my email ID, but if you guys also have some ideas related to content, that's again something that we are hoping to add to our repository. So instead of just us thinking about content, one is we have also started collaborating with our partners so that they can also feed into the content that we are creating. But if you guys also have some ideas that you feel might work, or even if you have like any thought, please do share. We'll be happy to go through it and probably reach out to you if we find that this can be created into a digital content. Yeah. Neha, I'll request you to share the link.
Yes, I'm sharing.
Hey, I have one question before we close. I loved all the questions here, but from your experiences, what would you tell people not to do if they had to start a creativity club? One thing that you shouldn't do.
Yeah, I think Uma, Neha, we might have a lot of that. Um, One thing is not confining them to a particular domain or theme. That's where our element, we started off with that notion that let's say this month we'll only do science, or let's say this month we only do art. But then we realize that there is a selective participation that happens. So only children who are interested in one theme, they do it. So we feel diversity is very important and giving children choices. I don't like science. I don't want to do a science project. It's fine. So how can you enable choices? So I think not having that, confining them to आपको यही करना है is a complete no for at least us in creativity club. But Uma and Neha, if you guys want to add something.
Don't replicate a school classroom situation. Yeah. So free flowing, a little relaxed, free flowing ideas, free flowing thoughts. I think that is very important. I mean, it should not end up being another class for children, but a space that they really enjoy, that they have the freedom of choice, like Asmiya was suggesting, freedom of expression and different things. And I think, I mean, this could be debatable, but we as educators, or we as people who start the creativity club, need to decide whether doing an activity and reaching the end goal, or taking inspiration from what we are saying and innovating, is that more important, or is step by step following the procedure and instructions is more important, right? So at some point of time you will have to hold yourself back from spoon feeding or from guiding the children and letting them loose to explore. And that is what I meant by let's not replicate a classroom, which is very structured, which follows a very linear pattern of progression. And let's give them a little more free hand.
Thanks, Uma, for sharing that. Just adding to that, and what Smia was also earlier saying, just to keep, like, once we, like, let's say one of you was sharing that we can like establish a creativity club in your building or society, just to keep that motivation going, or like just to keep that, to encourage them, maybe like you can also plan, let's say if we are to like conduct workshops and camps, if the collaboration happens, that happens, but also at the same time you can plan these small visits and like just call someone from your network who is an expert in something and let them engage with the with like just having a little bit more exposure towards that particular activity or theme or whatever. So if it's a photography like activity that you are, for example, asking children to participate in, maybe like a photographer can like come in someday and like do some fun activities with the kids, and just these mini like visits or like a little bit more exposure can also be like tried at a very local level from your end. So yeah, just
Lovely. Thank you so much for that. I am mindful of time, so I think we will end the Bachpan Manao Masterclass here. If y'all have any questions, please do write into either Smia, Neha, or Uma. One takeaway from me is that, and I think someone also posted on the chat, that even older people could do it. And I see this being so relevant for even the early childhood space, right? Imagine teachers or parents being a part of their own creativity clubs. I'm really imagining what then they can bring alive for the children that they work with or care for. So I see that just being a lovely idea that can travel. And it's also such a very simple template that anyone can just take and then implement. So that's a beautiful way to scale things. So yeah, thank you for this lovely session, Neha, Uma, and Smia. And thank you, the audience, for being a part of this. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Varun. Thank you. Bye.
Lovely
Hello,
meeting
hello,
you.
ma'am.
Hello.
Hi, Rana. Yeah. You would like to share something? Please go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I am from Bihar, Sasaram. So I am more comfortable in Hindi. तो मैं कुछ चीज़ें हैं जो शेयर करना चाहता हूँ कि मैं एज अ ब्लॉक रिसोर्स पर्सन काम कर रहा हूँ। तो वहाँ प्रथम के की तरफ से 100 डेज रीडिंग एंड मैथमेटिकल स्किल के कुछ प्रोग्राम्स थे। तो उसमें मैंने पार्टिसिपेट किया था उसको कंडक्ट कराने के लिए। तो बहुत सारे स्कूलों में हम लोग का काम एक्चुअल में ये था कि स्कूल में जाकर के इंस्पेक्शन करना कि बच्चे जो ये चीज़ें है गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से या फिर जो भी एनजीओज की तरफ से उसको प्रॉपरली स्कूलों के अंदर कराया जा रहा है या नहीं। तो वो चीज़ तो हो गई, जो 100 डेज एंड रीडिंग एंड मैथमेटिकल स्किल था वो हो गई। लेकिन अभी भी जो जिस एरिया में मैं रहता हूँ वहाँ से कुछ दूर पे स्लम्स एरियाज हैं, पहाड़ी इलाके हैं, तो वहाँ के बच्चों में भी बहुत ज़्यादा पोटेंशियल है, लेकिन उन तक चीज़ें पहुँच नहीं पा रही है, उन तक लोग पहुँच नहीं पा रहे हैं। और जब हम लोग ऐसे कोशिश करते हैं वहाँ जाके बहुत सारी ऐसी क्रिएटिविटी कराने के लिए लाइक पीबीएल जैसे कि प्रोजेक्ट बेस्ड लर्निंग भी चीज़ें ये है कि वो बच्चों के अंदर क्रिएटिव थिंकिंग आएगी, बहुत सारे उनको प्रोजेक्ट ग्रुप बना करके उनको कुछ वर्क देना, ठीक है, तो ताकि वो बेहतर सीख सकें। लेकिन हम लोग वहां तक नहीं पहुंच पाते हैं। और गवर्नमेंट स्कूल के अंदर जो भी बच्चे पढ़ते हैं वो वैसे बच्चे हैं जो रिक्शे वाले के बच्चे हैं, ठीक है, जो सब्जी बेचते हैं रोड किनारे इस तरह के। तो जो शहरी क्षेत्र है, शहरी क्षेत्र के अंदर तो जो भी इस तरह के बच्चे हैं उन तक चीजें पहुंच जाती हैं। लेकिन गांव के अंदर, वैसे गांव जो पहाड़ के तराई में बसे हुए हैं या फिर वैसे एरिया जो स्लम एरिया है, तो वहां तक ये चीजें कैसे हम इसको पहुंचाया जाए और कैसे उन तक काम किया जाए, इसके लिए हम थोड़ा सा आप लोगों से गाइडेंस चाहेंगे। और हम चाहेंगे कि आपसे जुड़ करके उस काम को बेहतर तरीके से कर पाएं, क्योंकि उन बच्चों का भी अधिकार है चीजों को सीखने का और अपने उनके अंदर जो चीज भी है उसको बाहर लेकर के आने का। तो पोटेंशियल बहुत है, लेकिन कोई ऐसा रास्ता नहीं है कि उन तक पहुंचा जा सके। और प्रथम के बारे में मैंने जब से जाना है तो बहुत ज्यादा हम एक्साइटेड थे कि कभी ऐसा मौका मिले कि हम इस बात को रख पाए। तो बस इतना ही है, अगर आप लोग की थोड़ा सा सपोर्ट होगा या फिर आप लोग के गाइडेंस में हम चाहेंगे कि वो काम को कर सकें। बस इतना ही कहना था। थैंक यू।
थैंक यू सो मच राना। आपने जो कहा एग्जैक्टली हमारा भी मोटिव वही है कि देश के हर गांव में इस तरह के क्लब्स हो, इस तरह की अपॉर्चुनिटीज बच्चों को मिल पाए। और मैंने मेरा ईमेल आईडी डाला है। हम आई थिंक बिहार में बहुत ज़्यादा काम चलता है, हमारा बहुत ज़्यादा क्रिएटिविटी क्लब का भी प्रोग्राम बिहार में रनिंग है। सो वी वुड बी हैप्पी टू कनेक्ट और देख सकते हैं कि जहाँ से आप हो या जिस कम्युनिटी से आप कनेक्टेड हो वहाँ कैसे हम और एक्सटेंड कर पाए। सो डेफिनेटली हम आफ्टर दिस एक बार कॉल या मीटिंग में बात कर सकते हैं। सो टोटली एग्री विथ यू एंड वी आर होपिंग कि हम भी इस तरह से हर कम्युनिटीज में कैसे पहुंचाए। दैट्स आवर मिशन। सो या डेफिनेटली थैंक यू सो मच वरुण। या थैंक यू।